Good morning, everybody. What's going on? How are we doing today? Well, I don't know how this one's going to go, so I'm going to do it the only way I know how to do it, right? So let's stop referring to people as being aggressive, right? Let's look at the definition of aggressive. Aggressive means one or something that is ready to attack, okay? I think we do a very poor job at explaining the difference in aggressive versus assertive or even being direct, right? Uh, One who is aggressive, like I said, is ready to attack. Like, who has that person attacked lately? And are you considering or are you calling or classifying that person as being aggressive because they're displaying behaviors that you may not appreciate? And what do I mean by appreciate? Right? Every organization has a hierarchy. Every last one that you go to, it has a hierarchy, right? And if someone at a higher station or someone at a lower station talks to someone at a higher station in a very direct way or a very assertive way, that person may not be used to that. They may have forgotten where they came from. They may have forgotten what it's like to be a human being, right? So they may assume that to be aggressiveness. Now, this is the way that I see it. This is the way that I see it. All right. This is Oz's opinion. This is the way that I see it. When I look at assertiveness, I think about it like this. All right. When you look at assertiveness and disrespect, did the person clearly articulate what it was that they were trying to get across, right? Did they Were they trying to do something that would offend somebody, or were they trying to do something maliciously? If it wasn't malicious and they were just being direct, or let's even think about it like this. If someone, all right, we finna get deeper. If someone of a different gender had came across the same way, would that have been a problem? Would it have been a problem? And we're talking about males and females here because a lot of females get tagged with being aggressive, right? A lot of females get tagged with being aggressive. And every time I hear this, I ask the same question. If a male had had the same conversation or responded in the same way, would it have been a problem? And if the answer is no, then no. That was not aggressiveness. That was assertiveness, right? They were very direct. They told you what it was that you needed to know. There was no disrespect involved in it. You just weren't used to getting that level of assertiveness from that person or even that gender because there's a cognitive bias out there, right? There's a cognitive bias. It's just a process that works on the brain. Everybody experiences a cognitive bias based upon where you're from, what you're used to, how you're used to interacting, freaking different cultures of organizations. This cognitive bias is there. So you may perceive something to be something that is absolutely not. And like I said, every time I hear someone say that a female was aggressive, I ask the same question. If a male had done the same thing, would it have been considered to be aggressive? And if the answer is no, then we need to do some soul searching and look within. We have to understand the difference between, aggressiveness and assertiveness. If we confuse those two, we're going to continue to have issues. And I would just ask that we stop referring to people as being aggressive. Like, who has that person attacked lately? Who have they attacked? Who have they caused bodily harm or injury to? Have they attacked anybody? So if they haven't attacked anyone, why will we be referring to them as aggressive? It makes no sense to me at all. No sense at all. Like we gotta change how we look at this stuff because, like I said, who has that person attacked? We got to stop this. And like I said, the biggest issue I see is people, you know, and mostly my male counterparts, we will refer to females as being aggressive. And I'm gonna say this again because we got some people just joining and ask the same question every time. When you have a female and you feel that that female is being aggressive or anybody, I say, hey, if that was a male and they had done the same thing, would it have been a problem? If the answer is no, then we have no problem. We gotta keep it moving. We have to change how we think about these situations. We have to. We have to because that's not building a cohesive team. That's not building a cohesive team when you're alienating people and referring to them in a manner that they don't appreciate, that they absolutely don't appreciate. Understand the difference between assertiveness and aggressiveness, right? And this is the example that I like to use for my combat arms folks, right? When we talk about aggressiveness and assertiveness, right? So being that the definition of aggressive, being that the definition of aggressive is someone or something that is ready to attack, I say, hey, look, if I have a battle drill, and that's these things that we do over and over again until it becomes automation, right? If I have a battle drill, I will want you to attack that very aggressively. Absolutely. I want you to attack your training very aggressively, because if you attack it very aggressively, you stay after it, you're going to get the results that you need, right? Repetition builds skills. Repetition builds skills. It builds automation. So I want you to be aggressive with that. But when it comes to talking to people and when it comes to dealing with people, I would want you to be assertive, because you can absolutely be assertive, get your point across, not be disrespectful, and just have your intent, what it is that you're trying to say, taken care of by being assertive. You don't have to be aggressive to get your point across. Being assertive does not mean, like, you have assertiveness, you have passiveness, and then you have aggressiveness, right? So if I am assertive, I'm literally coming to you. I'm not allowing, sidebars and things like that to get in the way of what it is that we're trying to take care of. I'm not getting sidetracked with other things. I'm not using absolutes. I'm coming to you with a problem that we need to take care of, and we are going to handle that problem like adults. We're going to have a conversation, and I'm not trying to escalate the conversation to the point where we're arguing. What I'm doing is I'm coming to you with this problem. I'm being respectful of you as a person, and I expect the same in return to me. And we're going to solve this because we're adults, and that's what adults do. That's assertiveness. Aggressiveness would be if I came to you and I'm cursing you out and I'm doing all this other crazy stuff and I'm escalating the conversation to a point where it's no longer a conversation. Now it's an argument. It's not an exchange of information. It is now an argument. It's an argument. And in an argument, the best way I heard it put, in an argument, both people lose. No one wins in an argument, because when you are in an argument, if you win at an argument, you lose, because the person that you just defeated, they hate you. That's right. They hate you. They don't want to hear anything it is that you have to say. They are still in the same mindset that they were in when the conversation started. They're still in that same mindset, right? So they hate you. Now, let's say we go in an argument and the other person wins. Same thing. If you win in an argument, you lose. So the best way to do it is to not have an argument. Have a conversation. Have a conversation. In a conversation, we are trying to understand where each other's coming from, not agree. We're not trying to agree. We're trying to understand both of our positions. And we may not be able to come to a compromise on this situation. But if we get to a point where we start having conversations where we understand where both people are coming from, guess what we can do? In the future, that may be a bridge that we can both pass, because we understand where each of us comes from, right? So that's that with the conversations. Like, we need to have assertive conversations. And if you are a leader, stop getting freaking butthurt when someone junior to you comes to you with an assertive conversation. Assertiveness is not disrespect. It's not disrespect. I had a sergeant major tell me one time, Sergeant Major Counts, I'll never forget this. He said he had a young soldier, or his leader told him back in the day, they had a young soldier. And the young soldier was from one of the Pacific Islands. I can't remember which one. But when he would talk to that soldier would look at the ground. So he tells that soldier, he says, hey, look at me when I'm talking to you, because if you don't look at me, that's disrespect. And the soldier just, like, kind of broke down, and he looked up at him, and, he was upset. And this is in his earlier years when, he's still learning to be a leader and all of that. He said one of his leaders pulled him to the side and told him, he said, hey, that kid right there comes from an island where it's disrespectful to look someone that you respect in the eye. By him not looking you in the eye, he feels that he's showing you respect. And that's what I'm saying. Like, people have different backgrounds, and it's hard for people to change and grow and to develop into the things that they want to develop in. And we have to understand that with the process. That's why we talk about that toolkit. If you walk around with a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Everything looks like a nail. You have to have different tools in your tool bag so that you can communicate differently across different spectrums with different people. If you do not have the ability to communicate with people across different spectrums in the way that they need to be communicated with, you're not going to be successful. Period. They when they say different strokes for different folks, that's exactly what they're saying. You cannot communicate with everybody the exact same way, because if you do, things are going to get lost in translation. You're going to miss the message. And here's the last thing I'll say. I'm gonna jump on here. Thank everybody for joining me, and I'm gonna jump off. Right. I heard it put this way. Right. I seen this, and we ain't gonna talk about the person that said it. That's a whole nother story. Right. So the example is this. They say, because we're talking about delivery. We're talking about delivery and how people receive you. Um, he said, "Look, what's your favorite meal?" And the guy was like, "Oh, steak and shrimp." He's like, "Oh yeah, how you like your steak and shrimp?" And the guy tells him, he's like, "Well, I like it medium rare." He's like, "How about your shrimp?" He's like, "Oh man, I like those shrimp, juicy and crispy, succulent. The steak, I wanted to have when I cut into it, the juice is just running out. Put me a little bit of garlic butter on top of that thing, and it's just delicious. You can smell the aroma coming into your nose, like your mouth just starts watering when you get in there because they had that fat on the steak and it's then melted down into the steak and it's just perfect." He's like, "That's how you like it?" He's like, "Yeah, man, that's how I like it." He said, "I tell you what, that's your favorite meal, right?" He said, "Yeah, absolutely." He said, "You'll eat it at any time." He's like, "Yeah, I'll eat it at any time." He said, "What if I took that same meal that was your favorite meal and I put it on a trash can lid? Is that your favorite meal?" He's like, "Yeah, it's still my favorite lid. Do you want it?" He said, "No." Delivery is important, and you may have to change your delivery depending upon who you're talking to. That's just life. That's just life. Everybody has a way that they receive things. And I'm not saying that we have to cater to each individual in every single situation, but we don't have to be the same to every single person in every situation. There's a time and a place and a space for everything. There's a time where we have to do broad strokes because we don't have time to go out and do that individual things, but we have to make time to go out and do the individual things so that we draw in the people that we need to be on our teams. Like, they should understand, they should absolutely understand what's going on, Battle. They should absolutely understand that right now, my leader is being direct because there's a lot of people and there's a lot of things that's going on. But at the end of the day, my leader cares about me. And after this, if I catch them on the side and I need to have a conversation, they're going to know how to reach me. They care about me. They know about my family. They know about my dreams and aspirations. I can pull them to the side and I can have that conversation. Those personal conversations matter. We have to have the broad conversations with everybody, but those personal conversations matter. You have to have those personal conversations because, like I said, at the end of the day, people are gonna look. They're gonna look if they only see you from the aspect of where you're blasting everything to everybody and you're knife handing and doing all of that stuff. You're not gonna build the type of team you need to. Take the time to do that leadership of walking through the crowd. If you don't know what that is, that's basically you going out, shaking hands, having conversations, getting to know people, letting people get to know you, letting them know that you're human, you letting them know that they're human, and we're all in this journey together trying to get to the same destination. All right. All right, with that being said, let me run through the comments right quick and I'm gonna jump off of here. Thank y'all for joining me this morning on Saturday morning. I don't usually get on, but got me a little light coat of CLP on, and I said, hey, let me go ahead and throw something out here in the world. The one and only AK Mega Hua, what's going on? What's going on? All right, I got a user here that says aggressiveness isn't really a bad thing. And look, like I said, that was exactly what I said earlier in the conversation, right? There's a time and a place for everything. But if you are stuck in an aggressive mode, that is a problem. Like, you should be able to uh, go in and out of an aggressive mode. Like, you should be able to use that aggressiveness in the situations that is necessary to use them in. So that was my message this morning. That if you are stuck in an aggressive mode, that is a problem. All right. You can't be stuck in an aggressive mode. Like, you have to be able to utilize that aggressiveness like a tool. But the whole ideal of this whole thing was that we got to stop referring to people as being aggressive, like in a derogatory way. I tell you one thing that I hated. I know I said that was the last thing, but one thing that I hated was, like, when I was coming up through the ranks and I was young, I didn't know no better. Yeah, I grew up, I was a brag baby, this, that, and the third, whatever. But the aggressive leadership style was the only thing that was at Fort Bragg. That was the only thing I knew. I had a very small aperture to look through, and everything that I saw was right because that's what I saw. Right? I had no other examples to look to. So All you know is what you know. And that's what I got taught. And as I along the way, I go along and I meet different leaders. I run into the MRT program. I meet leaders like, dang on Sergeant Major retired Garrett Griffin and, a whole host of others that I can't name them all right now. I started to see that there was a different way that I could lead, right? I started seeing these things. Now, the thing that I came later to regret was this. We all have people in their organizations where leaders will be like, hey, this is my pit bull. This is the person that I turn on a problem, this, that, and the third. I don't think that's cool. I don't think that's cool at all. When we're doing that, we're feeding something that's not going to help that individual grow. Instead of saying, hey, this is my pit bull, how about we give that individual other tools to put in their tool bag that's going to help them be successful? Because check this out. Your aggressive leadership style is only going to work in a direct manner. When you lead that direct manner and you have to lead from an indirect standpoint, guess what aggressiveness doesn't do? It don't work. You cannot get on a staff or you can't get at a higher level of leadership and use an aggressive style in an indirect way and expect people to respond in a way that you need them to. Because if you're leading with aggressiveness, you're not leading with influence. You're not leading with influence. And I used to tell my soldiers that all the time, like, look, when you leave soldiers in a room, the only thing that you can leave with those soldiers in a room to ensure that things get done is your influence. That's it. Influence isn't fear. It's not, being afraid of what a punishment is. Influence isn't like, hey, there's a penalty for me not getting this thing done. That's not influence. Influence is people doing things because they want to do them because they don't want to let you down. That is influence. So, like I said, you can't get stuck in an aggressive leadership style because if you do, you won't be a leader for very long. All right. If, people may not have noticed this, but our organization has taken a turn. We got a motto now that says people first, right? And like I said, I got a video coming, and the title of the video is going to be "Systems Don't Work, People Do." There's no system that works that didn't start with a person. So if we start to focus on the people, right? If we focus on the people and we build the people up, we invest in the people instead of investing in these dang on systems, guess what's going to happen? The people will take care of the systems, but you got to invest in the people first. You have to. If you don't invest in your people, they're going to go somewhere where other people will invest in them. And then those organizations and those companies are going to benefit from the time that you spent because you didn't want to, invest in the people, right? All right, one more story, I promise. Last one. There was a CEO and a CFO, right? Chief Executive Officer and Chief Finance Officer. The Chief Executive Officer says, hey, you know what? I think we need to send our people to school. The Chief Finance Officer said, hey, man, what if we send them to school and they leave? And the Chief Executive Officer said to him, he said, what if we don't send them to school and they stay? Let that sink in. All right. Okay. Let me get on down this list. Let me see. Who else we got in here? Martinez, what's going on? People need to open up, to be open minded and come to terms with the fact that everyone has a different opinion and perspective. Facts. Absolutely. I agree 100%. It's tunnel vision and everything is blurry to them. Yep. Yep. Kill one. What's going on? Battle. What's going on? All right. Hey, look. There it is. Hey, look. Thank y'all for joining me this morning. Please share this message. Like I said, I just wanted to throw it out there. Like, let's stop referring to people, as being aggressive. Don't let that be the first thing to come out of your mouth. Like, assess the situation and ask yourself that who has this person attacked that I'm sitting here calling them aggressive? Are they aggressive or are they assertive? All right. Assertiveness will work in every situation. Aggressiveness won't. I tell you that because you can dial assertiveness up or down, or you can do all of that. But aggressiveness, you're just aggressive. Okay. All right. Look, you are important, you matter, and don't let anybody make you feel as if you're insignificant. All right. Look, I mean that. You are important. If ain't nobody told you, you are important to me. Um, don't let nobody make you feel as if you're insignificant. If you do, get into the inbox. We have people here to help you. The NCOPD live team is here to help you. Let's Talk About It is here to help you. That's right. Look at that logo up there. The Women's Intentional Podcast is here to help you. Um, Look, life is a choice. I'm depending on you to choose well. Oz here signing out. I'll be talking to you soon.